Hello, everyone. Welcome to the lead series. My name is Grace Nafula.
I'm Thomas Ayuaki.
And I'm Ignatius Ouma.
And thank you so much, Tom and Ignatius, for joining us. And also for you guys, thank you for plugging in on our first episode. And as Alpha, it's the beginning anyway.
Yes.
So this is a new space for all of us relatively.
Yeah.
And for us, we're just hoping to use this as a chance to be able to share so much about the organization, what we do, what we have been able to achieve this past few years of us being up and running. And I'm hoping that, for you guys, it will be a chance for you to just learn about us, see where you can be able to plug in and just be able to enjoy and relate with some of the stories that we'll have to share. And some of the impact that we've been able to have in and within the entire region of the country.
Yeah.
And I just want us to be able to speak about the organization, a bit about ourselves.
Yeah.
We're here, all of us are colleagues.
Yeah.
Some 2 years, some 5 years, like me and Tom, but I want us to be able to just share with our listeners. It's a lot of years going into it. It's a lot of years of working together in this ICT for development space. But it's a wonderful space.
Yeah.
I think it's a space that we all found our comfortability and our passion in.
Definitely.
Just the ability to be able to change somebody's life and affect it for the better.
Yeah.
It's something that people really can't put words into it. Even us, we can put words into it.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's a great feeling, very monumental, very satisfactory to know that you've changed someone's life for the better.
Yeah.
I want to hear from Ignatius. You're here in the organization. Tell our listeners what you do here.
I joined ACWICT as a trainer, ICT trainer, where I was more of cascading, networking, cybersecurity, and cloud computing. But the journey to me has been quite. Let me say, I really appreciate the journey that I took because as per now, I take that role of technical lead person and e-solutions point person, and I help in the organization with various technical solutions and creative way in terms of enabling our listeners or enabling our beneficiaries go through learning paths that is quite comfortable to where they are, be it virtual learning or be it online learning through our platforms. So all these, and I really appreciate the journey that I've been the organization has given unto me.
And I know what you mentioned about the virtual learning and the e-solution, some of the platforms that we have, and things that we'll come to discuss later in the series, definitely in a more in-depth manner, and even ways that you can be able to plug into some of those platforms and get a chance to gain all the skills, right? For me, my journey, back in 2017, I think I joined first as a data assistant. Back in, there's a program in KU, that's when I met Tom. So I was a data assistant at the time. And our relationship with ACWICT just, kept growing and growing. And then finally, about 2 years ago, is when I stepped into the scene fully and permanently as a communication lead. And that's what I've been able to work on this entire 2 years. And typically, I don't want to go much into it, but the phrase is as simple as we are the voice of the organization. And
definitely.
we hope to be in a position to always share and always give more and more information about the inside works of the organization, what we're able to do and we're able to achieve, and also just handle all beneficiary matters.
Yeah, definitely.
As much as you will come and you'll get to see as you step into the organization to participate in some of our programs, you'll find that the communication team is your first-hand, meetup. That's what you see as the cover page. And then we open up this entire book for the organization. So that's for me for about 2 years. I know Tom has much more experience than the two of us combined. A number of years on us.
Before I even speak, Tom was my trainer.
He was also my trainer. He was also my trainer. Yes, he was also my trainer.
Yeah, so my age is showing a little bit, I can see. But yeah, so for me, it's definitely a longer journey than most. But again, some of the things that have been shared by my colleagues Grace and Ignatius ring true. So that speaks a lot to ACWICT's consistency in terms of its ability to achieve its goals, and resourceful people that they identify in helping them achieve the same. So in terms of the journey, I've been with ACWICT for 10 years now. And it starts from very, 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 very far. I started as an intern here, moved into the training department because that's where most of the opportunities were for young people pursuing careers in the IT space. Then, as I was doing that, I started getting into programming, especially within the ICT for development space, because I really realized that there was an opportunity for young people like me, young people like Ignatius and Grace, to use the knowledge that they've learned to be able to inspire the next generation of IT experts. So I went into programming for a while. Started as an intern there as well, because again, that's a very large JD. You can't just start at any random place. You have to learn before you start implementing. So I started as an intern in that space, and continued to grow to the point where, as we speak now, I'm a project lead for all of our digital skills and computer science education programs. And it's just a fun space to be in, because I get to interact with people from different walks of life, and really just ideate and come up with different program scenarios that can be able to help our young women and youth in general.
And I think it's been an amazing learning experience, like Tom is saying.
We
get a chance to meet different communities, different people from different walks of life. And we learn so much about their culture, their way of life, how they run their day to day, so that we can be able to plug into what they already have and try and offer this value addition so that they can continue elevating into that.
Definitely.
And another thing that I'm liking that I keep hearing is that we all started from somewhere that we're not here right now.
I think I've realized that we were more or less like learners in the first bit. We came in as beneficiaries. Then the organization, due to absorption of their beneficiaries, also it's a journey that personally I appreciate.
I like it when that's something I think the organization prides on, is the absorption of its beneficiaries, of you guys now, so that you can be able to now, from a point of learning, come back to this back end and be able to offer that to somebody else. And that's great. And even as we move further into this series, we'll get to realize that there's so much more that we want to achieve. There's so much more that we want to share to you. You guys as our listeners, there's so much. I can't even begin to describe the amount of back we have on our hands. And with all of that knowledge, with all of that backdrop from the organization, we were able to develop this series, and we were able to develop some of the things, some of the check boxes that we need, some of the criteria that we need to achieve, some of the objectives that we want to be able to cross out, so that we can say to each other as we sit back that, okay, with this new intervention lead, we've been able to create awareness about the organization, create awareness about the impact that we've had across all these years. And I want Tom to speak about it, because I know this is something that he's been driving. It's a team effort, but he's been driving very passionately. What do we hope? Tell our listeners right now, tell all of us here right now, as we sit here on the Alpha episode, and then we move 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes later, what are we hoping to achieve?
Thank you. So the overall goal of the series is to basically create awareness on the role and impact that ICT has had on improved livelihoods, education, advocacy efforts, and socioeconomic development. And basically how we plan to achieve that is by creating a platform where we can be able to leverage on ACWICT's extensive ICT for development portfolio to be able to tap into some of the key stakeholders we've engaged over a long period of time. So, people such as beneficiaries of our program, local and global partners, industry experts and professionals, to be able to basically create a space where we can intelligently discuss technology and the impact that it has had in their respective socioeconomic journeys. Yeah.
And that's just a great opportunity, because I'm looking back and I'm thinking the type of portfolio that the organization has here, about 27 years worth of interventions, worth of knowledge, worth of impact, worth of stories, worth of partners, and like you're saying, industry experts and beneficiaries that can be able to speak about the past 27 years and just how much we've been able to achieve together as a whole. Because, you know, all of that, the pool that Thomas just mentioned, all of us come together and put our heads in the same pot and we ideate. We think about solutions, the solutions that Ignatius will tell us more about as we proceed into the series. So I think we have so much that we have to share with you, beneficiaries, stakeholders, partners. And from that, I believe we can be able to gain much more even.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
as you give, definitely there's something that will be given back to you. And that's what we're hoping to do here, and that's what we hope to do with the organization for the past 27 years. And more on the lead series, we have so much. Like I keep saying it, there's so much content that we have. And I think I just want to know, Ignatius, Tom, what are you most excited about with what we have to share with our great listeners here today? For me, definitely has to be our journey through COVID. The journey was amazing.
That's an amazing journey.
The journey was amazing. The journey was monumental. I think it was a turning point.
I know you'll come to talk about that, but it touches a given space, or when we think about that COVID period, it speaks a lot to most of us.
You know, it was a very tough time for each and every one of us, maybe even for you guys at home listening. It must have been a tough time. And for other organizations as well, it must have been a tough time. You're wondering, how am I supposed to pay my employees? How am I supposed to keep them surviving and living when you're all stuck at home? You don't have any prospect for jobs. But then, even at that very dark moment, I think ACWICT did something that, you know, we'd live to remember for the years to come in the organization. We woke up, put our heads together, and we were still able to develop, I think it was about 3 interventions at the time.
Three fully sponsored interventions.
There you go. We had COVID-19, digital employability, we had ICT for agriculture, we had ICT for health. And we had all these 3 spaces to all of a sudden dip into at such a dark moment. And once we shared that journey to you in more detail, I think you can be able to understand the type of excitement and the type of hope that was able to give us at such a hard time. Right? Tom, what are you most excited about?
So for me, I think I would be a bit biased because again, it's a space I've worked on for a very, very long time. But you know, just the space around ICT's role and impact on improved livelihoods and education. It's a space that ACWICT has been implementing interventions for close to 27 years now. And when you look at the impact that we've had in such a relatively short period of time, because we are talking of around 300,000 people have been reached, around 70% of that actually attributing a skill that they've learned as a reason as to why they've been able to successfully pursue a career or even an entrepreneurial opportunity, while at the same time, you know, increasing our scope of reach to around 47 counties, even you know, empowering some of our neighboring countries like Ethiopia and Uganda. That to me, you know, seems like a very big opportunity to, through the words and eyes of our beneficiaries, be able to tell of a story that really tries to encourage women and youth in general to consider tech or consider ICT or even STEM as a serious career opportunity, because we've been implementing all of these programs within the landscape of ICT for development, and we've had a lot of success in doing this. And so this would be our chance to specifically share on, you know, how we've been able to achieve that throughout the years and what impact it has had. So that's what I'm excited to do most, and to be part of most. And hopefully, you guys also feel the same.
I think to jump on Tom's excitement anyway, the prospect of STEM related fields to us young women and youth right now, it's so huge, and it's such a trending. Not mean to say trending, It's such an innovative and driving route that we're taking right now, as collectively as a universe and as a globe, because we're finally looking at it as, look, everybody needs to walk into the space. Everybody can walk into the space, and it's as easy as connecting yourself to A, B, C, or D, and then you have the skills, you have these opportunities that can be able to propel you to such fields. So I'm jumping on Tom's excitement. I also want to hear more about that.
Because there's this popular phrase, by the way, that basically states that technology is a matter of survival.
That's a nice
one. And basically, not to be too hyperbolic, but basically what that means is that where we are approaching, we keep on talking of Vision 2030, we keep on talking of opportunities that will come as a part of that. But what I think needs to be now addressed more than ever is the fact that, yes, there are going to be job opportunities moving forward, but a large number of it, around 50%, if I'm being honest, will have to integrate some element of technology to be able to basically be efficient in what we are considering as the modern times. So we've moved away from tech being a special skill that you place somewhere in your CV, whether it's your typing skills or your ability to open and save a Word document, to now a point where it's almost like an extension of your ability to be able to deliver on tasks within the work or even entrepreneurial space. So, I think that's
a great space that we're going to hear about. Right?
Yeah.
And what about you, Ignatius? What are you most excited about? You're hearing from Tom, you're hearing from me.
For me, I'll talk from the angle of a tech solution person. And let me also use this similar phrase as Tom said, being biased. But once you're attached to something, you always want to see the entire space grow, or you want to see yourself grow within that space. Now, I'll really love our listeners to also come on board and listen to how the role and impact that technology has really played when it comes to socio-economical development. And this is very vast. When we see, even through the entire nation's journey through the Vision 2030, it is about the nation, but also if you see various community levels are also trying to grow through the same journey. How can they use technology to reach to that goal? And what role has ACWICT played as an organization also just to champion for the same? ACWICT has created various contents that has cascaded to either farmers, SMEs, freelancers, and we can see most of our beneficiaries have really transitioned from the traditional way they used to either earn money or do various things. But we can see that farmers have really learned various technologies, either for doing research, getting information, or even just being able to cure your crops when they have diseases. I don't want to give so much on that, but I think we can all relate to it. We've seen farmers going through it. The other element is on how we've been able to educate freelancers. And this was more especially channeled to university students who are just jumping from being so much dependent on their parents and now becoming or embracing the gig economy where they are self-reliant and they are able to earn. When we check on the other last angle, there are quite a number, and kindly listeners tune in, and you will be able to bring beneficiaries. They'll show you what quite a number of things they've done with their lives. The last element is on SMEs. We've been able to educate SMEs within this journey of technology, and it's more or less like a disruptor, but it is enabling them to embrace technology and see how they can do better their daily activities. I can remember some time back when we went to train some some SMEs. They were more or less inclined to their traditional way of sitting outside their shops and doing sales. But once we gave them some digital marketing skills, this really blew up, and they were making a lot from what they had. And that's my view, and I hope our listeners are going to enjoy that snippet as well.
I feel like I'm getting excited about everything. Anyway, what Ignatius mentioned is quite important, and it also touched me in a different way, because I have a business on the side, and through the curriculum that we developed, that we were able to develop about
we are
the
striking
SMEs.
that off by the
Why not? How did you market?
This is but anyway, go on.
Taking it when it's hot.
I feel very excited about Ignatius's aspect of it also. I think we have had a number of programs that we have been able to implement that speak to social economic development, and just how much we've been able to contextualize all this different knowledge that we have within the organization and offer it to these different groups of communities. We have farmers, like Ignatius has mentioned, university students just about to step into independence for their first time. And it might be you that we're talking about. You might be in the same position right now. And then you'd realize that there's so much that you can be able to plug into as you continue to talk about the organization and offer you some of these opportunities that you can be able to step onto. And I'm thinking that with all this, we haven't mentioned all of them, but there's so much that I'm excited for, even apart from ones we've mentioned now. So much that we'll be able to share with you, so many guests that we can be able to bring, so that they can be able to speak about what ACWICT has been able to do to them, or what then again we've been able to do together as partners to be able to impact somebody else's life.
And I think
yes, Tom.
And I think the key thing, just to sorry for interrupting. So the key thing I think for listeners to start, preparing their mindset on is basically, we want to tell these stories, but we want to make sure that they're coming from people who've been impacted by the interventions that we've implemented over the years. So it's not really about, it is about us in a way, but through the eyes and through the eyes and ears of the people that we've been able to engage with, and people who've been really impacted by some of the interventions that we created. So that's just a point that I needed to add.
And that's a very important point. That's actually one of the most focal points of this series, just the importance of hearing it from our beneficiaries, of who we've been able to reach, or even hearing it from a point of our partners. What did they see in us? What did they see in ACWICT? They must have seen something that made them believe this is the organization that I know can be able to push this, particular goal for us, heading straight into the community, the region. Tom has mentioned other countries that we're able to work with, Ethiopia and Uganda. So definitely we'd also like to hear from them, and all the trust that they still were able to, place upon us as an organization to be able to deliver all this. And same for the beneficiaries, the trust that they had on us to be able to deliver this content. Somebody to trust you to teach them, Tom. We think it's light. We think it's light, but it's something very, very important. Because this person is typically instilling some level of knowledge, some level of principles and standards that you get from them. So to trust somebody to deliver that to you is a great honor for the organization.
Great honor, great responsibility.
Great responsibility still.
I
will say just like Tom did, with great responsibility. Ooh. You can finish that up, right? You can finish. Hey.
So, some of us missed a few English classes.
Was that button just right on you, like the violence?
Okay. No, but the English left, but the technical. The tech side just quickly replaced into that. But that's a great time to just, feel free and be able to understand that all these different walks of people can be able to look unto us.
Definitely.
And us, we can be able to give them all that we have to be able to better their life. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you so much again for, just plugging in for this few minutes just to hear what we have.
Yeah, it's
and
a
we
pleasure.
have so much more coming into you, and we're going to be giving you a lot of guest appearances, like we've mentioned, so that you can hear from different people. And I'm hoping that you can be able to stick with us through this entire time, learn, plug into the different programs, the different interventions.
Definitely.
I know Ignatius has a passion project. I can't wait for him to speak about some of the platforms that we've been able to champion, so that you guys can be able to benefit from all of that, right?
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ignatius, for sparing this time to come and sit with me here and talk about this. Guys, you can follow ACWICT on Instagram, yes? I hope you're following your own organization.
Yes, I created my Instagram account few weeks ago.
See, you're
and
letting your age,
that's the
you're
first
letting your age
organization I
slip
followed.
again.
Yeah.
He's letting his age slip again.
Yeah.
But
I
thank
think
you.
it's more or less like a defensive mechanism. He's just trying to brush it off early enough.
That has more experience than us.
No, do you have a social media account? Did you get it?
Yeah. It took some of us a longer period to kind of not necessarily get the relevance, but just understand the proper way to use it. So I've been on Facebook for a long time, not to go into another discussion, but I've been on Facebook for a long time, but Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, these are new things that we are discovering.
But he's learning, and that's a good thing. Anyway, he has youngsters like us in the organization
to definitely educate me on some of this stuff.
He's a student, but now he can become a student as well.
Yeah.
I like where your head is at. But thank you very much. Follow ACWICT on Instagram at acwict.ke. Facebook is just ACWICT as is.
Definitely.
And then you can also follow this great space that they've been able to offer us today.
Yeah.
We contacted Great Space Studios to offer us this wonderful environment to be able to speak about this. And they have just been amazing, from the team all the way down. It's been a great experience at the studios.
Amazing.
So you can follow them still on Instagram at greyspace.studios and continue interacting with them. I completely loved it.
For me, I've really loved how they have the setup, and how it's really easy and comfortable for someone just to come and churn out something. And thanks to the engineering team as well. They've done a good job.
Thank you very much. I hope to see you in the next episode.